Welcome to what I'm hoping is an extraordinary Snarky in the Suburbs podcast. I just yelled at that podcast thing, didn't I? Oh well. Okay. In the Dear Snarky, we've got one wedding and one funeral to discuss. In the peeve, y'all, it's all about grandmas. It is all about grandmas, and I'm sure if you're a grandma, you may be thinking, I used to like that Snarky. Not anymore. I'm going off just a wee bit. In the observation department, it's about blocking. Why don't more people use the block availability we have to block people? Why don't they use it on email and phones? I don't understand that. And also, I'm going to talk about the Real Housewives and all the businesses they have that go bust. And in the confession department from the Snarky Confessional, it's another one about my mom. It is about how my mom allegedly, because this was in the 60s, people. I don't remember most of the 60s because I was a wee child. Busted up a cheating ring. Like full-on cheating. Not like the swinger thing I did. No, my mother went up to me with busting up a cheating ring in the neighborhood in the 60s. Once again, do I know if it's true? No. My dad said it was. So we'll see what you think when I tell you the story. But let's start with the Dear Snarky letters. Okay, I got 2 Dear Snarky letters. They were long. There was a lot of information. They were like little novellas. So I'm just going to take over that information. Okay, this one woman writes me. I'm starting with the funeral. And I've gotten a lot of Dear Snarky letters about this. Like, we don't want so-and-so at the funeral. Or my mom doesn't want, her sister at the funeral. Or my aunt died and my mom, hated my aunt, but she's going to come to the funeral and make a scene. Always stuff about funerals. And actually, funerals need to change. If you have a family that's full of conflict, which means all of us, funerals have to change. Like back in the day, people would put, the obituaries would be in the newspaper, and everybody got the newspaper, everybody would read the newspaper. Now, not so much. Now, I think mainly people do the obituaries on the funeral home website and then go on social media and say, hey, unfortunately, my aunt passed, and here's her obit, and services will be at so-and-so church or whatever, if you want to come. Well, it sounds like funerals have just gotten crazy. Just gotten crazy because people have gotten crazier, and now everyone's afraid that, this person's going to show up at the funeral. Then put on the obit. Once again, if I was going to name this podcast, it would be Simple Solutions. Just put on the obit. It's open invitation only. Don't even say family. Just say invitation only. Or do the obit after the funeral. Like the day after, put the obit in. I don't understand why people don't do that. But meanwhile, I get this letter from this woman, and she says that her aunt passed. And her aunt had many, many problems with her mother. And her mom wants to come to the funeral. And she's like, my aunt wouldn't want my mom at the funeral. I'll say aunt now, because when I say aunt, people don't like it. So I will now transfer that word to aunt. So she's like, my aunt would want her there. We've told her that, but she's coming anyways. And they're like, even worse, she's bringing her dirtbag of a husband, which the whole family hates. It's, it's going to be a big thing. And I'm like, why does it have to be a big thing? If the family has decided, and by that I mean the children, not the woman that wrote me the letter was a niece, then just have security at the door and tell your mom she's not welcome. Easy solution. Very easy, but I'm sure the family won't do it. Because a lot of these letters I get, and I don't know about this family, I just think they love the drama. A way to deal with grief is to create funeral drama. It makes a lot of sense because it distracts you from the grief you feel of the passing of a loved one if you can focus on the drama and then really get into the drama. And then your family can go to separate sides, like at the funeral home or whatever, and go, psst, 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 just gossip about the family member that's driving you crazy. That's why they don't do it. That's why people do not seek out the simple solution. Because that's one way. You don't want the mom to come. The mom says she is coming. She's bringing her dirtbag husband that no one likes. Get security at the front door. Bam. And if the services are at a funeral home, they have security. They can have a dude at the door or a woman at the door and go, they check off names. Sorry, you weren't on the list. Or ask everybody their name. And if it's not the mother's name, well, then you can get in. So this is what I don't understand. I also don't understand why anyone would go to a funeral where someone said, don't come. But yet, and this is a little juicy. People do that all the time. So my brother-in-law passed, my husband's brother. And he had a couple ex-wives. I mean, ugh, you don't even want to know. Okay, you do want to know. All right, you want to know? I'll just tell you one clue about my husband's brother. My husband and I had to get a restraining order against him. So there's one clue. Probably all you need to know. So he had been married a couple times. Surprise, surprise, that no marriage ever lasted. So the wife that he was divorced from, that I would communicate, with on the phone via text and a couple phone calls, like over the years, she hated him with good reason. She should have hated him. And she came to that funeral. Everyone told her, don't come. My mother-in-law did not want her there. Everyone's like, don't come, don't come, don't come. Not only did she come, but she came to the house. So she didn't come to a funeral. She came to the house and was mingling with everybody. And to that I say, you go, girl. You go, girl. I mean, she wasn't going to put up with any of this. And I didn't even go to the funeral. I stayed home. I mean, because, funerals in Texas, my husband goes, don't go, because he knew how I felt about his brother. And I also had a huge problem with the fact that my husband goes, can you write his obit? I go, if I write his obit, no newspaper's going to publish it. He's like, yeah, you're right about that. So just remaking him into this like great and glorious human being when he was in fact not. I'm like, I will have no part of that. No part of that whatsoever. So I didn't go. It was fine. My husband said, stay home. And I'm like, thank you, because I will be. Anyways, so she shows up because her and my mother-in-law clash city. I mean, even worse than me, if it's possible. The relationship was horrible. So she didn't like her. So she's like, I'm coming. I want to say my piece. I want to say goodbye. She came. And asked my husband, I go, so what level of drama? And of course, because he's a guy, he's like, well, I think it was really uncomfortable. That's all he said. I'm sure there was a lot of drama that went on. But yet I'll never know, because my husband doesn't see things like that. He's drama blind. But yeah, she came. And once again, if everyone knew she was coming, figured, she said she wanted to come, she was coming, why didn't you just have like the funeral people at the door and just tell her, no, you can't come? Like, show them a picture from her Facebook or whatever. She's not welcome. But she came and then came to the house. So that happens. That indeed happens. And another thing, I asked my husband, I go, who let her in? Who let her in? She just didn't open the door and walk right in. He's like, I don't know, she might have. And thinking about this woman, she certainly might have. And to that I say, more power to her. But anyways, this is the problem with funerals. It's a simple solution. You just have security at your home, at the funeral home, whatever. The only thing that'd be hard is a graveside service. But I'm thinking there's a lot of room for people to spread out, which might be a little different. But yeah, that's what I understand about funerals. Simple solution, get security. Okay. But guys, I can't stop thinking about my ex-sister-in-law. I mean, her just showing up there, bold as brass, people, bold as brass. It almost makes me wish I'd gone to the funeral, so I could have witnessed all that and then shared it with you. But yeah, I guess she wanted to say goodbye. But you know what people say? Like, she told me, she goes, I want to make sure he's really dead. Which you just go, ooh. But yeah. It was rocky. It was a horrible marriage. And a part of me's like, sure you do. Yeah, of course you do. Okay, that's it with the funeral. Now we're going to move on to a wedding. Okay, so this woman writes me. And she just recently got married. And I'm like, honey, why? Why? If you can write me a Dear Snarky letter, you've probably seen a bunch of Dear Snarky letters about women that got married when they saw a bunch of red flags. I'm like, girl. Weren't you reading the letters or listening to the TikToks or whatever? So before her wedding, she had problems with her brother-in-law, future brother-in-law. He was horrible. She said one time, like, she was like touching her fiance's hair, and like his brother came and just slapped her hand away. That would be probably the last thing that that person would have done to me, So and just was like rude and like blew up the wedding, which is horrible because his feelings were hurt. And then the groom's family was all about, the bride's family was mean because her parents were like, we're going to call the police. I mean, he's out of control. And they're like, your bride's family's crazy, and why can't they like brother, and I can't believe that our son is married into this crazy family, when in fact both families could be crazy. But you're married, they're each married into each other's family. It does sound like, of course this is because the bride sending me this letter, that the family was bad. I mean, this guy, anyone that would touch, slap a woman, like bang the hand away, like, and get close to her face, that's unacceptable. So, to anyone. So she's like, yeah, so like, all this stuff happened, and we kind of had to go, like, we don't know what we're going to do because my brand new husband wants to keep his family happy and keep the peace. If anyone ever says to you, is it 3 words? Yeah. Keep the peace. People, it's the biggest red flag. You should just get on like a jet booster from the science fiction age and go, and like get out of there. Keep the peace. Keep the peace is another way to say we're going to let the biggest loser and jerk in the family get their own way because it's easier. It's easier. He's the jerk. He gets what he wants. That's what keep the peace means. So her brand new husband is torn between keeping the peace and establishing some solid boundaries because, he doesn't want his family to be mad. What? I mean, come on. You're the new husband, and your brother struck your bride, blew up your wedding. Basically, the story she told me, the wedding became all about the brother and his hurt feelings and this and that, and everybody was running to scurry and make sure he was okay, and it's just a bunch of junk. And that's what he's doing? No, that's a huge red flag. And she's like, yeah, we don't know what to do. I'm like, well, here's what I would do. I would go no contact. Although people hate when I say go no contact, mostly older people whose children have probably gone no contact with them. Just throwing that out there. Think about it. It's the truth. I would tell my brother, no, you struck my wife. So, no, you are not welcome. You made our wedding about you. You had various fits and, episodes of drama. So no, we're going to take a break from you. We will be going no contact. And if and when we want you back in our life, we'll let you know. That should have happened. And I'm telling you right now, keep the peace. It's a red flag for every word. So it's 3 red flags waving. And also, if someone says keep the peace, it means they're never going to do anything. They're never going to do anything about it. We're just going to keep the peace. As a family, we just need to keep the peace. That's what that means. That's code for we're never doing anything. It's going to remain the status quo, and the biggest jerk in the family is always going to get their own way, and everyone else is just going to fall in line. Yeah, I hate that. Keep the peace, please. So I'm feeling very sorry for this woman right now. And I told her, who likes to sign off a letter on good luck, you're going to need it? No one. But I felt like, usually it's good luck, maybe a happy face. This one was good luck, you're going to need it. Because, oh my God. No. Keep the peace. And after a brother had done all that stuff, and now it's all about the brother and the brother's feelings, and no, absolutely not. So those were those 2 letters. They both kind of upset me. But back to the topic of the podcast, the simple solution is the best one. Take a break. No contact. Pause. Whatever you want to call it. Tell the brother, you're not welcome in our life until further notice. That takes care of the brother problem. So there you go. All right, now on to my peeve. Y'all. So I did this post on social media, YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, and it was about a sister wrote me in because she was really mad that her sister, who's pregnant with twins, had at the time had 4 baby showers, but wanted her sister to also throw her a baby shower. And the sister's like, it's embarrassing. You've had too many baby showers. What do I do? How many showers is too many? And so people were like, really going off in the comments. And as usual, I enjoyed it. So people then started mentioning the grandma showers, like when your friends, your book club, people at work throw the grandma a shower so she has stuff at her house for the baby when the baby comes over. And one woman pointed out, the grandma lives 1,000 miles away. Like, how much is that baby going to be coming over? And, because, grandma needs things. Y'all know. No on the grandma showers. If you're a grandma, you go to Target or Walmart and you buy a couple things when you need them. A newborn, you don't need a high chair yet. You buy a couple things so you have it at the house. You don't throw a grandma a shower, okay? If and when I become a grandma and someone wants to throw me a shower, I'm like, absolutely not. But I can send you my daughter's address if you want to send her a gift card or something. That's very kind. But no need to do that. No, there are no grandma showers. So, also, grandma baby reveals, and I had a Dear Snarky letter, and it was a juicy one about the grandma baby reveal. You don't get to throw yourself a big grandma baby reveal. No. And invite family that maybe already knows the baby reveal, or worse, you're usurping the parents before they have a chance to do the baby reveal, or maybe they didn't want to do a baby reveal. No, what grandmas know what has happened. Take a step back. What has happened? This is not about you. This is about the couple having the baby. You should no way make it about you. You should no way have a grandma shower. And people are going to tell me in the comments, no, it was the best thing ever. You go buy that stuff yourself, okay? And no way do you need to have a grandma baby reveal. So grandmas, gather in close. Everyone get close. Hold hands if you need to. What's going on in your life? What is your relationship with your son-in-law and your daughter, or your daughter-in-law and son, that you feel the need to make the fact that your son-in-law and your daughter, or your daughter-in-law and your son are having a baby about you. None of this is about you. And I have no empirical data to prove this. This is just a hypothesis. These grandmas that have the grandma showers and, that do the grandma baby reveals are the same grandmas that aren't going to do lickety-split when the baby comes. I do believe these are the grandmas that are all excited about a baby, but when it comes, they're not going to do any babysitting. I'm really busy. They're not going to do a bunch of stuff with and for the baby, but they'll probably be the photo op grandmas. Just saying that, once again, no data to prove it. It is a hypothesis, and I would like people in the comments to support me in my hypothesis. Thank you in advance. No, it's nuts. It is nuts. If you are a grandma, if you are lucky enough to be blessed with grandchildren, remember, no part of this is about you. Then, this was about a year or two ago. It brings us in. This grandma writes me, and it is about her grandchildren's birthday parties. And she says she feels very upset at her grandchildren's birthday parties where she is never honored. I go, honored for what? You're a grandma, which is fantastic, but it should be an honor to be a grandma. You don't need to be honored. And she goes like, my daughter-in-law never calls me out, or, I think she would mention me. She thanks her husband, and, they say little things at parties. Okay, I'm thinking, who gives a little speech at their kid's birthday party? It must not be held at Chuck E. Cheese. So, no, just get over it. Quit making stuff about you. And if you have one of those personalities where you're like, God, do I make everything about me? Seek immediate help. Immediate help, okay? Get a therapist. And I'm telling, don't even do telehealth. You need to go talk to somebody in person, okay? Because it's wrong. Stop it. There's so few things in life that sometimes are just about you. Like having a baby, all that kind of stuff. As another human being, don't try to hijack any of that and make it about you. Especially like a grandma. You've had your kids. You've had your time. Let somebody else be in the sunshine. Don't try to take some other sunshine. And by God, don't try to take the sunshine away from a kid's birthday party. Oh, and this was probably years ago before I started doing TikToks and Instagram. This woman wrote me because she was upset about the locations of her grandkids' birthday parties. She was upset that they were at a roller rink, and I think one was at Chuck E. Cheese because, she didn't see that befitting. She goes, I don't like to go to those places. Grandma, no one cares that you don't like to go to those places. Maybe the reason they're having them at those places that they know you don't like to go is so you don't go. All right? Okay. Think about that. Anyways, that rant is over. Oh, it's a pee, but it's more of a rant. And if you're a grandma and you want to tell me how wrong I am, please leave it in the comments. And tell me why I'm wrong. Well, if you're a grandma, you're not a grandma. You don't know. I do know. I'm a human being with years of life experience, and I know that I don't make things about me, okay, pretty much ever. So there's that. But I would not rob my child or my daughter-in-law or my son-in-law, not that I have either, moment. I would not steal it. I would not make it about me. I would not have my feelings hurt if it was not about me. That I do know. All right, going on to the observation. Oh gosh, I have to drink Diet Coke from McDonald's. It's still good, although it's a little watery from all the ice melting. Okay, now let's move on to my observation. Okay, so I was listening to some Datelines. As you know, I love Dateline podcasts. Never have I ever watched a Dateline show on TV. I just listened to the podcast. Okay, and this has stuck with me. There's always a Dateline podcast, maybe at least once a month, because, they come out every Tuesday, where somebody gets upset because someone was emailing them or texting them and it was driving them crazy. There's a Dateline podcast about a woman who, and I'm going to say not allegedly, but did, kill her husband's mistress because she was found guilty. And she said she did it because she was like such in a rage from she would get so many emails and so many texts and pictures of her husband hooking up with the woman. So the mistress, she said, was just bombarding her with all this stuff. Why didn't you just block? Block on the email, block on the phone. Set your phone to silence people that aren't in the contacts. Go to phone and you can click on silence and you never have to hear from her again. If you don't have her phone number in your contacts, you're never getting that message. You're never getting that text. Why don't people do that? I don't understand why you don't block people you don't like and don't want to hear from. Is it because you kind of want the drama, or you're way too curious, or you like being in the middle of stuff? I do not understand. Oh yeah, it's called silence unknown callers. Yeah. So why wouldn't you just put your phone on silence unknown callers? Wouldn't have to hear from them. You'd be golden, and you wouldn't be serving life in the Gatesville Women's Penitentiary in Gatesville, Texas. So I don't get it. Someone explain that to me, why you cannot block people. I have a lot of people blocked, I have a lot of business, whatever. It's my favorite thing. My phone never comes off silence unknown callers. So if you're not in my contacts, I'm not getting it. Because if you're not in my contacts, I don't really need to talk to you. Even my plumber's in my contacts. So those, stuff like that will come through. If I know I could be getting a call from something, I will take silence and no callers off until that call comes through, and then it goes right back on. And TikTok, people I'll block them on TikTok, and then they'll come to Instagram. They're like, what happened? Are you off at TikTok? And I'm like, no, you're blocked. So now that I know your Instagram, I'm blocking you on Instagram too. So thanks for that tip. I'm not playing, people. My time is precious. I'm not playing. Okay, then another thing. So if you don't watch any Real Housewives, this is going to be 3 minutes. Hang in there. Oh, excuse me, I got to itch my eyeball. If you're watching, that's what's happening. If you're not watching, I had to scratch my eye. Okay, so all these housewives, they get their gigs in the housewife shows, and they all start these businesses, and every single one of their businesses tank, except a few exceptions would be Bethany Frankel. She started Skinny Girl. We all know she's making bank. She's getting her coin. I like to say, do I sound young when I say that? She's getting her coin, or she's getting her purse. I sound ridiculous, and I won't be saying that again. I don't know. I like saying getting your coin. That may come back. People mention Lisa Vanderpump. She already had her businesses, and she accelerated them by being on the show and building on that. But all these women start businesses. What I don't understand is these housewives start skincare lines. No one's going to leave a skincare line that's, through a dermatologist or a known huge cosmetic company, knowing this has been tested, to start a skincare line from a housewife. No wonder all those go out of business. It's stupid. Even if you're a housewife and you lend your name and get paid for having your name with a dermatologist, still, I don't know. I don't want to use skincare by any housewife, because I don't think, I would question their skin. It's all surgical intervention. It's not what cream they're using. Okay? Yikes. So yeah, that was dumb. Some of the food stuff, it's just not really. Cookbooks, yeah, you might sell some. I think Teresa sold a bunch of cookbooks. They do wine. No one wants a housewife wine unless it's going to be a gag gift, like at your Christmas party where you bring the gag gifts, whatever that's called. So elephant. white elephant. I would get like some, unless it's once again Lisa Vanderpump, because she has been in the wine business. But yeah, I'm not gonna like get a wine from the Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. Like, what do they know about wine? And they just slap their label on something I could probably get in the Target, spirit aisle. So yeah, I don't understand. What I don't understand is why wouldn't they just get their housewife coin, their salary from being a housewife, and brand deals, because their social media is going to go boom, 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 and just make money from the show, from Bravo, and their brand deals. Why do they have to branch out in all these businesses and then lose money so they're like, in the red? I don't get it. I think it just proves maybe housewives aren't as brilliant as we think they are. Oh, wait, did we think any of them were brilliant? I'm going to say a couple of them are very smart. I mean, you don't get to be a doctor by being a dum-dum. So, but yeah, no. Like football players now, I think, I could be wrong about this, but I think NFL football players, like when they're rookies, they have to go to like a rookie camp or whatever, or get told, be careful with your money, blah, blah, blah. They do a finance thing, so they're super careful with their money. Don't blow it on family, this, that, like all the pitfalls now that you're making all this money. They need to have like a housewife boot camp for new housewives and go, don't start your own business, okay? Don't do that. Don't get into the food or the skincare or the jewelry or any of that. Just get your money from us, Bravo, and then do your social media. You'll be much better. I don't know why that doesn't happen. That's a suggestion. Bravo. Perhaps you should consider that. Okay, moving into the confession from the Snarky Confessional. Y'all, this is a story that my mother liked to tell. I do not know if it was true. It happened actually, it was in the 50s, because I was born in 61. This happened before I was born. Okay, so it's funny. So my mom, all these women get married like at 18, 19. I think my mom had my brother, her first kid, at 19. Her and my father eloped. Maybe 18 people. So they get married. Their husbands just go off to work. They're home all day, just pumping out kids. This was, the 50s. It's before birth control. The pill, okay? Just pumping out kids. My mom had 4 kids in 5 years. God bless. So, they're just trapped at home. So my mom would, she had 3 kids at this time. She had to take them outside, walk around, whatever, All the wives would be like standing in their yard. You would just go visit, passing the time. All smoking cigarettes. They were still huge. And she said, I go, were you drinking? She goes, well, I wasn't. I'm sure she was, people. She's like, oh, I wouldn't drink in the morning. I waited till your dad got home and we'd both have a gin and tonic. So, they both, like, to their grave had gin and tonics. Like, as long as I've known my parents. My dad would hit the door after work, greeted with a gin and tonic. So, she said that she started noticing that a lot of the housewives, some of them were like really happy. They seemed to be in like really good spirits and really happy, had a little bounce in their steps, a little joie de vivre. So did I say that right? I don't know. I took French in college, so I'm sure I said it wrong. Okay. Oh, sidebar story, side rant coming in. I felt like my French teacher in college like really liked me, and I wasn't the best student. Okay. And she was a woman. And I felt like she didn't like me. Oh, she liked me and always wanted to tutor me and everything. So, yeah, it was like my first experience with, I think, a woman liking me in that way. And I had to really think, well, am I going to get a good grade? I did not allow her to tutor me, but it was funny. And then I was telling friends, I go, I think, Madame, really likes me. And they all started like rolling on the ground laughing. Literally, they're like, what? And I go, I think she likes me. And they're like, no, she's nice to everyone. She goes, the problem is most of our professors are mean. So when someone's nice to us, we think like, do they like me? She didn't like me. This woman was just like, a wonderful human being, a big, huge ray of sunshine. And of course, because I'm stupid and thought every professor hated me because I wasn't a star student, I'm like, oh my God, she's so nice. Does she like me? No. She was just an amazing human being who taught French. And I should have been a better student, paying her back for her amazingness. So that was me, speaking about dum-dums. So anyways, all these like housewives seem happier. So my mom, who loved mystery novels, okay, and she got me hooked on mysteries like at age like probably 8 with Encyclopedia Brown. So anyways, she's like, what is going on? And then she started putting two and two together and noticed that all these women were using the services of the same handyman. Their husband's at work all day. The husband doesn't have time to come fix a door that's, jammed or whatever. So, or a garage door that won't go up and down. I don't know if I don't think they had electric garage doors back then, off its runner, cockeyed, whatever. So, pun intended with the cockeyed. So anywho, because it goes with the story. So, she's like, wow, they all have the same handyman. And so then she took the 3 kids out. I wasn't born yet. And she would kind of start trolling, like, the handyman's at, Jane's house today. Oh, the handyman's at Susie's house today. And the handyman would come, like, when these women all had school-age children. So their kids were in school during the day. And they would come around. He would come around while the kids were at school. So and my mom, known for this, passes on to me. She starts peeping in windows. Even like, when people, that's a story for another time. And she would just kind of like I just wanted to see if you were home, if she was caught, whatever. But she wanted to know what was going on. And she said she saw some stuff, is how she described it to me. And she couldn't believe that this was going on. She's like, oh my God, this, she goes, and she said being a housewife back then was like really lonely. So, she's husbands would like work in the city. They'd get home at 8, 9 o'clock at night, whatever, you're exhausted. So, these women were getting some attention. But she thought this guy was just like the biggest dirtbag. So, of course, she's not going to rat these women out and tell their like husband or whatever. She's going to go after the handyman. So she starts doing a little dossier. He went to this house at 8:15. Then he was at Dolores's house by 10:45. Ooh, back at Nancy's house by noon. She had the whole thing roped out. Then once again, people, the 50s, there was no internet. Then she put all the kids in the car and followed him home one day. She wanted to know where he lived. Is he single? Does he have a wife? Oh yeah, he has a wife and kids. She follows him. He goes home. She sees the wife and kids. She's like, oh my God. So, then she goes to the library, and you have to go through, I guess, we had card files back then, but she wanted to go through, different newspapers and stuff like that. She was like looking for his name. She said it was like a lot of work. She was, the internet, it would have been 2 seconds, to find out more about him. So she found out his business. And then she had to go to the county, what he's like doing business as. My mom had a whole dossier on this guy. It kept her occupied, I'm sure, for a couple of months. Then one day she goes up to this guy and she goes, hi, my name is blah, blah, blah. She goes, I have some problems with my house and I would love for you to help me. I hear you're really great. So whatever. And he's like, oh yeah. I'm like, what's the problem? And she goes, well, I have so many. So she starts wooing that guy. This woman with 3 kids, probably one on the way. No, I was born in 61, so one wasn't on the way. Starts wooing this guy. And he goes, the kids here all the time? And she's like, I can make arrangements if it's a job that you need the kids out of the house for, because it might be dangerous. Starts wooing this guy. So they set up a date. A date, people. A date. The fact that my mother, lived a long life is amazing. I go, you did what? So she sets up a date, but she said she never let him in the house. It was the front. She goes, she met him at the front porch and went out, closed the door behind her. They're both on the front porch. And she's got like a sheath of paper, like with all this stuff on it. She's like, I know who you are. She goes, I, know what you've been doing. And she goes, and I'm not going to, tell on these ladies because they're vulnerable. You're taking advantage of vulnerable ladies. She goes, but I have this. And then lied and said she had pictures. I respect that. I respect that about my mom. And said she was taking it to his wife. She goes, you're going to turn down jobs. I don't want to see your truck in this neighborhood again. And if I ever see it or ever hear that you're doing handyman jobs, quotation marks for handyman jobs, in the neighborhood, she's like, I'm telling your wife. She goes, you've been warned. So yeah, it's not blackmail, is it? Is it blackmail threat? I don't know. But she ran him out. She said, sadly, the women that were like, had a spring in their step, she goes, maybe the spring was less. She didn't know, but she goes, you don't need that in the neighborhood. Preying on these women that were vulnerable, left alone, lonely, the drudgery. There's a lot of drudgery in being a full-time mom. Let's all be honest, people. Let's be honest. There's a lot of drudgery in parenting and taking advantage of these women. So she liked to tell that story, and I don't blame her, because if I had a story like that, I would be telling my kids. Sadly, like when I tell my kids the wonder that is me, they seem very unimpressed. I was unimpressed, and I would hear it. And then as I got older and had kids of my own, I'm like, damn, Mom, I am impressed. Remember that story you would tell us? I'm like, I am impressed. And she's like, she would always go, which one? Because she had so many. And I go, you know, the one where you had like the 3 kids, you know, I wasn't born yet. She's like, oh. She goes, you know what? He never came back. She never saw that man again. Never, ever saw him again. So that was the story. My mom just bust a handyman for doing the dirty in the neighborhood. Respect. That's all I'm saying. Respect. Okay. I hope you enjoyed that Snarky Confessional. Y'all, my mom, so many great stories, which brings me to my book, Trouble in Texas. We're doing questions about my books. I'm done with the summer book series, okay? Because I'm putting my Halloween decorations out tomorrow, so we have to wrap up the summer thing. Okay, this is Trouble in Texas. This was an ode to my mom. Kind of, it was inspired by her, the character. Crazy like a fox. Smart, just full of plans. Full of plans that, of course, she wants her daughter to help implement. Super funny. The main character, the snarky character, goes back to Texas to visit her mom, takes the 2 kids, and she's not off the plane for more than 5 minutes when her mom's like, okay, we got some stuff to do. Let's get it done. And her daughter's like, what the hell? But of course, they get it done. It's really, really funny. The mom kind of runs a halfway house for junior league dropouts. And by dropouts, I mean women that have been kicked out of the junior league. It's about revenge. It's about reuniting with your best friend from high school that, like, you know, hated you, like dumped you in high school because what, you had to wear a retainer to high school. Back then you had to wear the headgear. So it's funny. You'll really, really like it. And if you want to learn more about like the kind of woman my mom was, check out Trouble in Texas. All you have to do is go to the show description, and then there's a link. Click on that. It takes you to Amazon. Like I say, the Snarky Universe, ebook, audiobook, paperback. Super fun. Super juicy, super fun. Go do that. And thank you all that have left me reviews. I'd like a fresh review on Apple if someone could do that, because my last one's dated at the end of August. So if we could freshen that up, I would be in your debt very much. Everybody that leaves comments, I read them all. So thank you for engaging. We are a Snarky Squad. And tell people about the podcast, because I want to grow the Snarky Squad. It's a sorority of awesomeness, correct? Has there ever been a sorority just of sheer awesomeness? Let's say no. Let's say this. This is the sorority of sheer awesomeness. We're all awesome. And once again, everybody go out and have a great day, because, yeah, we deserve a great day. We deserve a fabulous day because we are fabulous. And as women, we don't tell each other that enough. So I'm telling you, you're fabulous. Go have a fab day.